Hello, namaste. I am here. So I hope you all know what namaste means. If you don't, it is not regarding a religious practice at all. It is a tradition. It can be in certain cultures a tradition, but it is basically a very deep and intense way of interacting with someone, and it sets an intention when you spend and share space with someone. So that is the purpose of it, and that is why I greet you with it. Go ahead and check it out, Google it. I might post it, a definition for you, just to bridge the gap, because some people just might not know, and they might think like, what the hell, or what is this? And go find out. So this is Illuminate Beloved part 3, and I am going to try and make it the final part. I have sat and I have really been gaining a lot of insight and download and just perspective, and I am not a teacher. I'm not trying to be someone's teacher or leader or guider. I just really want to enlighten with some information. What you do with that information is your choice. What has led me to want to share the depths of of just illuminate light and energy, and being kind of third dimensional and powerful and organic but connected, is because we do have a choice. And where you don't have to be perfect to access this energy, you do have to do some body work to fully charge and get the energy flow or vortice going. I don't know if anyone watched the second one and looked up any of those words, but those were key to connecting, how it all connects, kind of. But now we're gonna, in this video, sum it up to how inside of us to the outside we access this, and we become very powerful. And again, not perfect by any means. You are already perfect. You're here having an experience. So this is not about any human constructs, okay? So with that being said, I would just like to give you a visual. And the visual is a tree. So when we're young and we draw a tree, we do the little bubbles, and then we draw a nice stem or stump, a base, and then we get a base, and then the roots maybe. Like sometimes when I drew roots. Sometimes I didn't draw roots. It would depend. So depending on how I was feeling, you may have gotten roots with my trees. But if you picture the brain, right? And picture the bubbles, you got the little bubbles going on. And then you picture your spine, how it runs down your back. And you picture all of those, picture all of the nerves and how they're in the spine, but, they're not really just out yet, like they reach certain points and organs. And then the connection is made. So like a root, it stretches out, okay? That is just proof of how organic we are to even that detail. Our lungs look like the leaves of a mullein plant, and a mullein plant is a healing source for lung illness. So, just things like that I want you to understand. So I want you to think of your spine and what's in your body, that organ, the brain and the spine and the network as the tree of life. Okay, that's first. And then I want you to understand that aligning with that are your chakras. So we have 7 major, and I'm going to highlight the major. But in our bodies, I don't know how many people, so, everybody knows about chakras, or, we call them chakras, but you can easily look them up and to understand a little bit more, but because I don't want to just focus on that, I want to get to a point. So if we start at the root, which is if you're sitting in lotus, and you know how your tailbone is sitting on the mat or your cushion, your pillows, and that would be considered your root. Okay. Your root is the root, or it's Muladhara. How many petals does it have? So each chakra looks like a flower, and it can look closed or it can look open, appear closed or it can appear open. We want them open, but each one has so many petals. So we're focusing on the main 7. So after your root, you want to look at your sacral. So that's right between the root and the belly button. And then you have your solar plexus, and that is right above. And then you have your heart, and then you have your throat chakra, and then you have your third eye, your Anya, and then, crown, higher self, which is not in the body. It's an energy field. This is all, energy. So, with your chakras, I have notes because I don't want to forget anything. Picture your spine as a coil, and in culture, it is called a 2-headed serpent, and it's said to lie dormant in the root. And it is our job to activate it, which is the Kundalini, which is that force or that drive upward. But the Kundalini, this life force energy, is proven by, the nadis. So let me back up. There's something called nadis, and there are 7,200 nadis, points in your body, and they all are energy points. Nadis are the pathways to life energy. How can I describe a nadis better? Nadis are a part of your astral body as well. So while the nadis is the pathway of life energy, pathway means how it moves, what direction, the distance between. Nadis is like the, when you turn the crank on your car or your motorcycle and you need to get it started. All of those channels or whatever those connectors are, even if it's the what are those things called? Spark plugs, that could be a nadis. But nadis is a rhythmic cycle And there are literally 7,200 pathways in your body. Nadis connect you from the inside to the outside. Okay? So remember, we talked about being able to reach the bridge between space and time, being the astral where they meet in the fourth, and then being able to access illuminate energy and light, and with manifesting and the path of our life and the direction that our life is going. You have to connect your chakras with your nadis, and it creates a dance and a rhythm. And this is not complicated. So nadis are non-linear, nadis are non-local, nadis are non-hierarchical. So nadis do not submit to any subjective. It's not a part of a system. It is something that is activated. Sometimes voluntarily and sometimes involuntarily. For me, I will say that my nadis have been operating without, not my consent, but automatically. So when I am channeling and reading my tarot for people, and the message is coming, I'm sitting in my space, and there is an energy, and it runs, it surrounds me, all aspects. Like, it's not even like surrounding like a bubble. I just am in this place, and it is with me. I am it is all. And there is a trust and a knowing in this place. And then my back, when I'm reading, so I go live sometimes on Facebook, my back is completely drenched, first of all, from my spine on down, just drenched. And it's like a liquid fire, but it is cool and it is hot and it is amazing. And I don't get to decide whether it happens or not. And I say that to say that there are many of us that have that interaction with the with energy. So there are times, though, I read, and throughout life I would get so fatigued and I would get so low vibe and super emotional. And I, at those moments, didn't understand the tools that were available to me to recharge and even raise my vibration, which is a protection. So I said that we would talk about yoga. And I don't know about you, but about 12 years ago, when I learned about 13 years now, 13 years ago, when I learned about yoga, I thought that it was this practice that was limited or to, the eastern part of the world. I thought it was some religion. I thought that it was hippie. It had a label. And in my journey, in me, because I am a seer, I felt the word yoga, but I did not go any further, and I should have, and I didn't listen. We have free will. I just did not make the connection at that time years ago. And then I had a back injury. Wild. And I was given pain meds like candy. So I am not someone to do drugs. I went to Peru and was a part of ayahuasca ceremonies, 5 ayahuasca ceremonies. That is La Medicina. It is not a drug. I don't smoke marijuana, but if I had to prescribe it, I would use it as medicine for clients. So I'm all about plant, but I have a different reaction to certain things. So I reacted really horribly to the pain meds. And I had to fix my back. I had to be able to walk. I had to be able to work. So I don't know how it happened, but in me, I was so interested in yoga, I just never went further, like I said. So I came to a point where there was an organization in my town, and it's so wild because I had an interaction with the owner in a healthcare setting, and she was just like, "Come on in." And I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yes, really." Like, "Yes, really. Come on in." So I came in, and my first session, I was so nervous. When I say I'm shy, y'all think I'm bullshitting because I'm like super like I do enjoy adventure. I enjoy new experiences, but within the comfort of other people. Like I'm not just out here jumping into stuff on my own. So, my oldest daughter walked with me because I drove. We just had to walk far to get to the center because it was in the downtown area. And she sat outside in the little waiting reception area for me in my first yoga class, which was Sangha yoga, which isn't a good energy, like fear and anxiety. It isn't a good energy, but yoga will clear it out of you. I will tell you that. So no worries. But I remember sitting there, and my first experience, we're in Lotus. Not full, I wasn't in full Lotus, not at all. And I had a couple cushions, like I had a couple of blankets folded because the higher you sit and your knees are downward in the beginning, it helps your blood flow so your leg doesn't fall asleep. Your legs don't fall asleep and you don't hurt. So I'm in position, let's say that, and my eyes are closed and I'm just vibing. Is wavy. It's yes, I'm here, right? All nerves gone. And then I heard this sound and I felt this surge run through my back. And it's the surge that I feel when I read, but it was amplified without me reading. Like when I read, it's automatic. That's what's going to happen. This is happening without cards in my hand, channeling. And she hit this. It was like a gong. So you know how you hit the singing bowl? So you know I have my singing bowl, right? Listen. It was deeper than that. It was like boom. And then it hummed. And then it vibrated. And then it went up. And my spine just like. And it was, I'm not being dramatic. It was a spiritual reaction for me. It was amazing, okay? So I hadn't done anything except experience that vibration during a meditation, which I was like, okay, I have to remember that I can do that, right? So, okay, that happens. We get into yoga, and Sangha is very much breath. So there are different forms of yoga, and there's vinyasa, and oh my gosh, I'll talk about it in a minute. Let's finish Sangha. So Sangha is deep, slow breaths, like the pranayama breathing, and inhale, exhale, focusing, relaxing the body in between poses. And while holding poses, you're still focused and able to have these deep, relaxed breaths, right? So perfect. Healed my back. Um, Even now, if it gets stiff, I just do a couple of poses, and even the child's pose, amazing. But I just do a couple of poses and then fine. So healed my back with yoga, okay? Ignited some stuff with the gong, okay? Um, so then there is vinyasa yoga. And that was another experience of mine, and I am a deep breather, so when I'm connecting, I use breath, and usually deep breath. So vinyasa is very quick. Your motions are like, so for Sangha you might take a pose, right? This is, just say this isn't a pose, this is pose, so we're going to say this is pose. Here we go. I'm in pose. I'm able to breathe, and I'm able to enjoy it, and I'm able to feel, okay? Vinyasa. Pose. Move. Pose. Move. Pose. And you have to maintain a rhythm for your breath, okay? So let's understand why yoga is important. So yoga is stretching. There are movements to activate the 7,200 nadis, to activate, to open your petals to your chakra flowers. When you can align and straighten your body and move and rotate it, you are opening self. You are opening your third level body, avatar, whatever you want to call it. You're opening it up in all places so that this channel of energy, you get it, can flow through you easily. If you have blockages, you may experience low vibe feelings like negativity, sadness, depression, anger, and those are all human feelings. And it's not that it's not okay to have them, but don't live there. Acknowledge it and take yourself back to higher self, to higher energy. You want a lot in life, right? And you need to understand the access that you have. And I'm not a teacher. I won't dig into that meat. The first and second video dig into the meat a little bit. You can watch those. This is truly just to help you open up your petals, so that your energy vortex can get moving. And you hear me say manifest, you hear me say cultivate, and those things are not mine. Those words are not mine. Those constructs are not mine. Those constructs are offerings to us. And just by being in this plane on this planet, we just have to access it. And I have learned just by reading and sitting in that illuminate, amazing energy that it is not a reward system like many of us are taught that we live in. You know, you do good, you receive good. It is more, and I'm not canceling yin and yang, because karma is very real. Yin and yang flow, chi, all of this is real. I just want to say that instead of looking at good and bad being a reward system, think of it as I raise my vibration, my environment becomes such. If I have lowered my vibration, my environment is such. Okay, so reaping and sowing. And that means to be aware of your intentions. And that means to be aware of having a completely passionate, connected human experience. Another way that you should incorporate, and you can quickly, so okay, you're having a bad day, okay? Just a bad day, right? You don't have time to do yoga. You're so in that low vibe. You are not about to do some yoga and stretch it out and beat yourself and ignite anything, right? Okay? So, if you're in that mind frame, what you can do, and you should do this every day, if it's when you're waking up, if it's when you're in the shower, if it's when you're making your coffee, if it's when you're on the drive to work, it is better to meditate if you are talking about self-care, setting aside serious time to do this practice every day is necessary to keep your chakras open, and to keep your life force, that energy, that liquid fire, having the opening to flow. And this is how you're going to activate it, though. So I don't want to just say you can do it quickly and move on. I am giving you my word that when you tap into what I'm about to tell you, you're not going to want to rush. You're going to know when to stop, and you won't be the determining factor. The charge, the fullness of it will determine, and you'll say, you'll make your processes and move on from it. But let's get it. So everyone knows the Om or Aum. So Om or Aum, Aum. Okay, everyone. Well, if you don't, that is a mantra, a chant. It's more of a chant. But here, old nerdy me, I want you to know that there is another chant, and what it does, chanting meditations, they purify the nadis and the chakras. They purify them. So remember, you're having that low vibe, this will purify you. So you want to find a quiet space, or you could be driving. Make sure you're very aware of your functions and you're able to drive and do it. If not, park the car before you go into work and spend time purifying these energy points and vortices, okay? So Om is beautiful. You can research the meaning of Om. I don't want to define it for you. But you may hear someone say, Om. is a vibration that you feel run from your throat chakra down. And if you hold your neck in correct posture, and that's what yoga will do. It'll correct your posture too, and you will feel it vibrate up and down. You will feel it channel itself. That is the Om. And then there's, you may hear it pronounced as that's another. There is no correct or incorrect. You can switch it up, use whichever combo you like. Maybe you just like Om, maybe you like Om. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you a story about why it doesn't matter in just a second. Then my slick self, my all up wanting to know and know, have discovered a chant that is so ancient that and powerful that it has been removed from religious texts, but it is on hieroglyphics, and it is in some song, and it is said to be the spark, and it is Ahu. So you don't want to just sit and say Ahu, because the point is the vibration is the source, the energy of saying it. So I play with it a bit, and you can research it. It's AH and then HU, I and who. Not Hugh, but who. And it sounds like this. So sometimes I will separate the two and do it this way. I will say, and sometimes I'll combine it. Or however you feel it, you will inspire yourself on how to deliver it. These meditations purify your nadis and chakras. Again, I say it because, and it calms you. It puts you in a state of euphoria and connection. This purification is a vibration, but it's an energy, and it is emotional energy, it's physical energy, it's spiritual energy, and it's mental energy. All those nadis in the body is connecting and cleansing. Okay. The story. So here's a story. There was a man, and he arrived on boat to visit an ancient who held the secrets of all life. And he arrives on boat, and he comes and he meets with the ancient, and the ancient is meditating, and he's saying, Om, Om. And the man, he records, he asks his questions, and the ancient, the elder tells him, it is my time to go into the great light, to transform, to transcend. And he said, I'm glad you came so that I could pass this information on to you. And you can share it, because I don't have a predecessor. I need this, I need you to take care of this and to pass it. And he's like, oh, wise one, no, don't say that. And he's like, no, it is my time. So they go to the water where the man's boat is. And the man is standing and he's looking at his notes, and he's nervous and he's shy about looking at the elder and speaking, so he keeps his head down and he says, I just want you to know that where I'm from, you are saying the Om incorrectly. The Om is to be said, Om. And he looks up, to see the elder, because he knows, if he wants to see his reaction, because he doesn't want to offend, but, he needs to look at him after such a statement out of respect. And the elder isn't in front of him. So he looks around, and the elder is walking across on the water, and he looks back and throws his hand up and he laughs and he says, oh, thank you so much for the correction. I've been saying it wrong my whole life. And he turns his back and he laughs and he kind of waves at the young man, and he goes on into transformation. So, very powerful, regardless if he was saying it right or wrong or not. So that was just a little encouragement for you to just feel it and go with it, because that's more important. Okay. Let me check my notes to see what else I want to tell you. Oh, so while a lot of people think that life is fixed and they have to dig themselves out of a situation, like it's this way because it is so, this is the way it is because it is so, I want you to understand that when the nadis are flowing and you're purposefully charging yourself up, like they're working regardless. They just could be less amplified. They could, the low vibe is a real thing. So once you realize that nothing is fixed, that you create your experience. So you can settle into an experience and stay there. That is your choice. And you must accept accountability for that. Or you can understand that by accessing and opening up all of these available energy exchanges that connect all the way out into the ethers. I mean, people astral project. People have gifts and they have communications and they have things that they should not just know from the normal senses. And they're real and they're provable. Nothing is fixed. Your nadis, they reach out to everything, but they start in you and they reach out into everything. So things aren't predictable because things are constantly changing. So the reason I say things aren't fixed, as soon as you begin to charge yourself up, to activate, to people like awaken. Awaken is a whole nother type of way of being that it will take you through its own process. More of the awakening comes through the Om and the Ahu. So don't worry about just Ahu and Om and meditation, okay? But things are changing constantly, and if you sit in one way, that's kind of stopping the flow, right? So if you are always open to change and you are always trying to create, then your body is working with you to gain and to send the signal out to, from the bat cave that you're ready, like, but you have to send the signal out. But I said I would talk about Kundalini, and I will, I guess. But Kundalini is real. It is recordable. It is a part of quantum physics as well. So, science has found a way to measure Kundalini awakening. But I watched a Swati guru, and he spoke on it, and he said that to do Kundalini yoga without learning how to ignite all of your points and your distribution center and your rhythms, it will send you into an automatic state of distress and chaos. Kundalini awakening and yoga. So there's a Kundalini yoga, but if you look at ancient practices, and you have to have the time, you have to be ready to lose everything, because your main focus is going to be this Kundalini awakening. If you're using Kundalini yoga, Swati Guru said that your Kundalini, if it is not fully awakened, like if it's not constant and you haven't reached enlightenment or this state, it is okay. Some people go, and that is their purpose. They don't do anything except sit or pose to ignite and seek it their whole life. The purpose is to live. Your Kundalini, I do nothing. I do yoga. But before I did yoga, the sweaty back, the liquid fire, the ignition happened for me and continues to happen just from me being in an intensive state to offer. I do use the Om, Ahu, but I will tell you that without doing Kundalini, my Kundalini serves me. Okay? I just don't want you to get lost thinking you have to achieve something, when really you have to maintain, and you have to look up the vocabulary. Look at the first and second video to understand energy and flow and rhythm and vibration and how it all works so magically. And then you will kind of understand this a little bit more. So again, I started with talking about fasting and purifying, and that is just to give your body a jump start. Those are practices that are great to incorporate. I will say that whenever you speak to me or we're talking on this topic, definitely try to. But also, again, just like you have your own energy complex going on, like your pathways, and you're a being of energy. Understand that people that you know are the same. We always need to connect and be outside of just self and understand the grand scheme, and to understand that we are not all at the same level, and it takes an awakening for me, I will say, I want to vibrationally match who I'm with, because I don't want to have to clear out low vibe, and I don't want to clear out low vibe energies, because I have opened myself up to and shared amazing, charging, beautiful, intimate energy with someone. Not that I will always be high vibe, and they will, but the vibration match I'm speaking on is of awareness of what it takes. I have met a few people that have wanted to stop me from my gifts, like, oh, when we do this or that together, we get together, and, if we decide to get serious and live together, you don't have to do that anymore. That's not my vibrational match. That would be so draining. And I would be very uncomfortable and feel judged in my life if that was my partner. So, I am 9 months, 9, 10, I'm 8 months, very much abstinent. And I can see that I don't have the chaos and the confusion of another, that element is not present. So that when I do, we don't have to have the same flow or speech but to celebrate each other's individuality and to see the beloved in each other and to have our own practices and respect that, that will be my match. And they don't have to be into the like we can get there if they're open to it, but they have to have some sort of I don't want to teach. I want to energetically share, okay? And I want to receive that as well. So I want them to share theirs with me. So I don't know if I'm making sense, but there comes a point where, some of you may be just fine and some of you may experience the change, the constant change. And for me, it happened years ago. And I divorced someone that was very bad, which I needed to anyway, but it took a while. And then it all fell apart after that. It got really bad. But it took me understanding me and how amazing I am and powerful. To know what I was and really wanted. And to not have low vibe fear and things like that. So blessings, because it's a journey of self and magic and truth. Truth. But I have some things going on and I have some prospects, y'all. But I'm not excited. I'm just like, whatever. So it's going to be what it's going to be. And I will continue my practices. And so I tell y'all that we get to a point where we can connect energetically and draw things into our lives that we want. I have purposefully not done that. So that is why I am in the state that I am. I am okay. I am. I am that I am. So I don't know. Let me look at my notes one more time. We talked about the chakra petals. Astral body and nadis. Yeah, that's it. That is what I wanted you to know. So yoga. Sangha is beautiful. Sangha yoga, that is beautiful. All of yoga is beautiful. Sangha yoga is an easy way in. And if you don't do the yoga, which you eventually, our bodies get tight. Like that, we have to move it around to get those energy points flowing. So no, let's say yoga. I'm not going to take yoga out of the equation. Period. Okay. So we're going to say yoga. And then we are going to say meditation and the Om, Aum, Ahu, Ahu. Very important. And there may be points in your meditation where you chant and then you stop and you just sit. And you may want to do it again, you know. I know breathing, I start with deep breaths to relax myself. The pranayana, the prana breathing, deep breaths. And then that's a circuit. It's flowing. It's opening it up. You know, the breaths where you fill up your abdomen, your belly, and you feel it in your chest and you push it into your stomach. And you hold it for 3 seconds and then you slowly release it out, slowly. And then you do it again and again until you feel relaxed. And then you can stop and then you can sit or you can chant at that point or you can sit or you can continue to breathe, whatever you do for your meditation. If you cannot sit, to lay down on your back, you want your palms up. It is an energy thing, so you want to be able to receive. So you want your feet open. So here's my legs. My feet would be open and resting. And then you want your palms to your sides, but palms up, okay? So that you're receiving, you're open, okay? If at some point you feel like resting your hands, interlocking them on your abdomen, make sure your thumbs are touching, you know, some kind of way, you know, and they're on your abdomen. Those are actual points as well. And you want to stay connected when you close it in. So that actually means enlightenment. Actually, I didn't want to bust it out like that, but this is, you know, sometimes when you see a Swati or Guruji or someone, they sit and this is how they sit, or it's on their, you know, and they're between their legs and their root, or maybe on an abdomen. It is a state of, and it doesn't mean you've arrived. It just means that you are at peace, total, complete truth, peace, one. Okay? A whole being, okay? I am not going to do any more with Illuminate Beloved because I feel that is sufficient. This is sufficient. I do want to send you love. Swati Guru Sadra, he said that he doesn't bless people anymore. So I'm the lady running around, blessings, blessings, blessings. And he explained it very articulately as, you know, when you have young children, you want to bless them. Teenagers, you want to bless them. But there comes a time in an adult's life where it is their responsibility to bless themselves. And it is not my responsibility or his responsibility or your responsibility to remove energy from yourself and give it to another, because in essence, that is what you're doing. So some might say, oh, that's selfish. What the hell? That's selfish. And I will say that's empowering. That is motivation and incentive to get the whip cracking. So I love you. I will say that. That will replace blessings. I love you. Is that good? I love you. And I hope I put this video up and leave it up because y'all, I will go hide. It's being vulnerable is very uncomfortable sometimes, most of the time for me. But that's it. Stay well.